Okay, this is a public hearing of the planning board, excuse me, it's a public hearing of the planning board on the petition of Caddy Farms LLC for the laying out of certain ways on a plan of land in Revere dated September 30th, 2019, prepared by Hayes Engineering, Civil Engineers and Land Survey of 603 Salem Street, Wakefield. This hearing is continued from the November 19th hearing with the planning board. And first of all, let's take a roll call. Mr. Amico, absent. Mr. Ciarloni? Yeah. Mr. Delvecchio? Yeah. Mr. Desimoni? Yeah. Mr. DeVoe? Absent. Mr. Giovanni? Absent. Mr. Lemina? Here. And Mr. McKenna?
Here.
Okay, Jaws.
Are there any proponents? Please state your name and address.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the Planning Board. My name is Attorney Larry Simeone, and I represent Caddy Farm LLC, who's the petitioner on the public street dedication layout that's before you. Last time we were before you, we asked for continuance from the November 19, 2019 meeting to December 9, 2019, which is this evening. We're once again in the position of most respectfully asking for a continuance. The continuance is based upon the fact that since the time of November 19, 2019, the developer has reached out with city officials from the city of Revere to open up a dialogue between the town of Saugus, its town manager, and its staff. That communication and dialogue was ratified in a conversation between my client, Mr. Williamson, and Mr. Crabtree, the manager of Saugus. So they have asked, and I will ask the city council as well, to continue all matters for 30 days while the parties work on a memorandum of understanding in order to address really a complete review of how this site will be accessed. Right now, as you can tell by the plan before you, we're accessing from a public way known as Eustace Street, and we have a plan that's totally within the city of Revere boundaries for a small, ultimately a public street. I think if we're successful in the discussions with the town of Saugus's manager and planning staff, we may be able to lay out to this board as well as the town of Saugus's planning board in a simultaneous way the complete site as laid out via public way. I have suggested, and I know that my client's going to talk to Mr. Crabtree about it, that if we get as far as the working on a Saugus Route 1 opening, working with the town of Saugus's planning board, that we should consider having a simultaneous session of the two bodies so that at least they can discuss the entire site and how it's going to be accessed. So most respectfully, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry once again to have to ask for a continuance, but I think it's in the best interest of the project and the best interest of the city of Revere.
Thank you. I agree.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to read into a record a communication received by Richard J. Serino, Councilor-elect, Ward 6, to the members of the Planning Board. I apologize for not being able to attend today's meeting due to work, but I wanted to submit comments to your honorable body relative to the Caddy Farms proposal that is currently before you. After careful consideration of this proposal as it stands, and after talking with neighborhood residents, I do not oppose the creation of roadways within the confines of the property to further define the site. And I am excited for future economic development proposals and opportunities for the Caddy Farms and Wayloos properties that will hopefully enhance the city of Revere's commercial interest and tax base. However, as Ward 6 Councilor-elect, I am concerned about opening up Muzzy Street and the potential and unintended consequences this connection might have on the residents of North Revere further down the pipeline. At a meeting of the North Revere Neighborhood Group on November 12th and in some subsequent conversations with neighborhood residents since, neighbors who live off of Salem Street have expressed serious concerns about the potential traffic impacts of a Muzzy Street, Revere to Eustace Street, Saugus connection. In particular, they feel that if a Muzzy Eustace Street roadway becomes the main access point to the site during any construction of roadways and thereafter, this could lead to heavy vehicles traversing Salem Street in Revere. Though I understand the intention of this proposal is not to route vehicles to and from the site via Salem Street, the door would be open for that to happen, which is alarming to the neighbors and me. North Revere residents strongly feel that access to the site should be constructed via a Route 1 connection, not through a residential neighborhood that could potentially increase traffic on Salem Street, impacting North Revere. Understanding there is a safety hazard without having a secondary entrance egress to such a large site, the Muzzy Street-Eustace Street connection should be considered and granted only as an emergency access roadway in addition to Route 1 connection. Thank you for your consideration, Richard Serino, City Council-elect Ward 6. Into the record.
Matter of record. Are there any more proponents? Close that side of the hearing. Are there any opponents? Hearing none, seeing none, close that side of the hearing. Gentlemen, what's your pleasure? Postpone it? Now, one question,
Well,
Frank.
you're not closing the hearing. This is a
Right.
continuance of the hearing.
Yes.
So we need a motion from a member of the board and second to have it continued into January.
Mr. Delvecchio,
Motion by Mr. Delvecchio,
seconded by Mr. DeSimone.
second by Mr. DeSimone. Continue the hearing to a date to be determined in January. On the motion,
All in favor?
roll call. On the motion, Mr. Amico, absent. Mr. Ciarloni?
Yes.
Mr. Delvecchio? Yes. Mr. DeSimone? Yes. Mr. DeVoe is absent. Mr. Giovanni is absent. Mr. Limina? Yes. And Mr. McKenna? Yes.
Yes.
Vote and so ordered, so this hearing will be continued to a date to be determined in January.